Hey guys, my name is Malia Tia, and tonight I will be showing you how to straighten curly hair, which will be demonstrated on my good friend Lucy. Also, thank you Lucy for letting me straighten your hair. First off, what I did prior to recording this video, I had her wash her hair because the sweat collected in your hair throughout the day will just make your hair smell when you straighten it. And then I had her dry it completely with a towel and a blow dryer. You want it to be completely dry so as to not burn the hair, and also straightening wet hair would just make it look greasy and thin. I then brushed out her hair and parted it into a section to make the straightening job more efficient. With other types of hair, you can just straighten big pieces of hair and it'll be straight. But with curly hair, it'll just make the hair poofy, which is not the goal. You want to start from the bottom because in my opinion, it takes the most time to straighten, and it will also make sectioning the hair easier. I then rebrushed her hair that I sectioned out and ran my fingers through just to make sure I got all the little knots that I missed. I then used this heat protectant spray right here, this one, as you can see, and I sprayed her hair with it, the hair that I sectioned with it. I started from her roots and I worked my way to the bottom, and I made sure that I got the ends. I then started rubbing it in at the top just to make sure that I rubbed it in completely. And you don't, with the heat protectant spray, it'll get wet, so you don't want that. Because as I said before, you do not want to straighten wet hair. I could continue to rub it because I could feel that it was still wet. And then I saw this stray piece of hair, so I pushed it in front of her ear to make it get out of my way. And I did the same to the other side. So I kept rubbing in the heat protectant spray because it was taking a long time to get it through. I also use this herbal oil before I straighten and after I straighten the hair just because it has a shiny look to it and it'll make the straightening job look better, I guess. So I sectioned out a part of the hair that I sectioned out already, and I could feel that that part was really wet, so I just kept rubbing it in, and I sectioned parts because it was getting stuck together. And I could feel that her roots were still wet, so I kept gliding my finger along her roots just to put the heat protectant spray in. And I continued to push it down because the heat protectant from her roots was dripping down all the way to the rest of her hair. So I sectioned that part out. I grabbed the herbal oil and I poured a little bit on my hand. You don't really need a lot for this little much, so, and you don't want a lot because you don't want to have it like wet because it does make the hair wet. So I rubbed it out and I made sure I got her ends because usually that's where split ends are. So I rubbed it out and then I rubbed it out on the other side that I was going to straighten later. So I started rubbing it out, making sure that it was dry, making sure that I got dry enough so I can straighten. I then sectioned that part and I put it into two because, as I said, you don't want a big of chunk of hair to straighten. I then started from the middle, going all the way to the bottom because the bottom is the curliest part of the hair, so you just want to start from the middle and go all the way down, slow as you can, just to make sure that it's actually getting straight. And then I continue my way to the top and make sure that I got her roots. Because if you don't get the roots, then it'll just look like a lump of hair. So I then continue to straighten it. And then I grabbed the brush and brushed through it just in case it made knots. So I straightened it and straightened it. And you want to do this with every single piece that you're straightening. Then grabbed her roots and started from the roots and started straightening and straightening, and I went as slow as I could down, all the way down to her ends. And then I continued to straighten the bottom of her hair. And you want to go through this about 15 times. I then did that to the other piece that I had. As you can see, I'm starting from the bottom. I had to move my camera because it wasn't showing and I didn't see that at first. So I started from the bottom, and I made sure that I got her ends, because the ends is always the part that pops up. Then I moved my way up to the top, and with this, you want to keep going, and then I brushed out the hair that was already straightened. And then I kept going up and continually moving faster and higher and higher, sorry. And I went as slow as I possibly could. You do not want to go fast, because if you go fast, then it'll just take forever to get it as straight as it is right there in the video. You want to continue this process until it looks like this. Turn around. Thank you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.